Imagine that your parents, who you barely met throughout your childhood, one day decides on a marriage partner, and now she comes and changes everything that you built. Both their lives change as they have a past that aligns them, and a beautiful story begins. The manga starts with us seeing two people embracing each other. However, it is clear that the boy is nowhere interested, and the girl pushes herself onto him, as he was clenching his teeth. Our main protagonist tells us that no matter what happens in his life, he would always remember his first kiss with this person. Although this seemed like a very normal awkward moment between two new couples, it turns out that this was something more serious, and the ties were made from parental influence, and there dwelled something more painful than love in both of them. Our scene swoops to our main protagonist, and it seemed like he was running with all his might, as he had an angry expression. It turned out that something bizarre happened in his life, and now he has to deal with it, and it all impacted on something that he worked day and night to build. His main goal in life is to live in such a way that his existence is almost unnoticeable to anyone. His philosophy is so unique that he has worked so hard for years to master the art of blending in with the public. Stability is something that would best suit him and his character. As he ran and ran, he was called out by some people who were chasing him, and Furuya glances back and sees a crowd of people running to catch him and skin him alive for the act of terror that he did earlier. As they ran with pure blood-boiling hatred, we learn why this all is happening to the poor soul. Just earlier, the kiss moment between him and the top idol of the school was somehow captured by some people, and now they demanded a 10,000-page explanation for this event. As they yell and started to turn into hideous beasts with no situational awareness, Furuya runs around the broadcast room. And inside we see the top idol, who just made Furuya's life hell with one stunt. As Saiya introduces herself, the interviewer asks what the viral thing that she caused just now is. Saiya was not a normal idol. Rather, she was the leading beauty in the entire school, and almost every single boy in the school knew about her and secretly loved her. As she ends up agreeing on the dating rumor question, we learn that both their families were the leading companies. However, the main difference between both of them was that Furuya's family business was struggling for quite a long time and were barely in business, and as for her family, they were the leading corporation and held the monopoly on the supply chain. Almost everyone around them can't seem to fathom why she would date someone low like Furuya. As Saiya heard this, she frowns and ponders something for a minute, and in the next instant she tells him in a confident tone that they both love each other more than anything, and their love will surely overcome all the problems and difficulties created by nature itself, and they will surely unite in everlasting long love. As Saiya declared her great undying love for him, she had a bright smile. However, on the other hand, this smile and cheerful voice was a poison and a dynamite for others. She kept going on how she loves his actions and how they are rebellious teens sprouting a change in history. Poor Furuya finally snaps. Every single thing that she was muttering was actually wrong, and in reality, he was forced to kiss her, and now she just announced that to the whole world. Saiya wasn't actually just a princess for the entire school. She was also famous for stirring up all sorts of troubles for anyone who came her way. It seemed like Saiya herself had no idea what type of person Furuya actually was, but still, she was too fixated, and in the first place, they never even met each other. If a person were to fall on the street, Furuya would help that person from the shadows and would die to keep himself out of the spotlight of any sort. Saiya's supporters were sure that something was wrong and that there was no way that a starry idol that everyone admired would date a gloom nobody who creeps everyone. He is also called the misery prince of the school. The boys are ready to pass their judgment. After school, behind the main building, Furuya was so frustrated that he started to scream on the top of his lungs and asked Saiya about the things that she just did. She not only uploaded the pic online, she also laughed while making a bold stance, telling him that he can't run away anymore, but their conversation was about to turn dark. She starts to explain how they need to figure things together, and how they need to be together. She adds that even though they are tied in an arranged marriage through their parents, They have every right to be together and understand each other. With a confident and bold pose, Saiya tells him with a loud voice that he should win his freedom back through a strategic love and romance that in the end would benefit both of them greatly. As she went on and on how everything will be great and their lives would change for the better, Furuya stood there and had a dead expression. Deep down, all her cheerfulness was something that angered him more than anything, and he looked at her as if he was looking at his enemy. And with a cold voice he tells her to stop and that he doesn't mind anything, and being alone is something that he cherishes more than anything. He adds that he knew from the start that her attitude was very selfish, and he didn't like anything from the start, and in the next instant he tells her that he hates everything and doesn't need anything that slows his life. In his life, freedom, relationships, lovers, friends, and all of them are just a waste of time and effort. As Furuya said this, it was clear that he already gave up on the beauty of life and was hard struck on the fact that normal things that humans need are something that he actually loathes. As he starts to break down how he can't risk the ups and downs that these things bring, we learn that there were scars on him that were so painful that it pierced through his heart and made him into a dead and cold person. He cried that his heart was already swallowed by a black hole which left him dead from the inside. His next sentence finally reminded Saiya that he may not be the person that she was looking for. He tells her in a chilling tone that he has absolutely no interest in life. As Saiya saw her new fiancé that her family arranged for her, she looks at him with a grim look, and deep down, probably worried that she might have been in a toxic and dead relationship which would bring both of them down. Furuya's ideal life was something that only prisoners would understand. He reminds himself again that he promised to not chase for freedom, and tells himself that he is fine with eternal darkness, and doesn't mind the fact that his senses are dulled and he is dropping in pitch-black tar of darkness and nothingness. Despite this, he was happy that his parents finally started to use him again, and he was happy that his parents would gain something from his marriage. As he was serious about his life and its stability, all cheerful mood goes away, and he tells her to remove the picture and tells her that he hates her company more than anything. In silence, she thinks of something, and replies to all his words and tells him that he is just pathetic through and through. These words somewhat shook him, and he could not help but stare at her. She starts to point out how his whole ideology is something that he made up to escape from the things that he fears. Friends, family, and life itself are all topics that trouble him more than anything. She couldn't believe that there was a pathetic person like him. Just hearing this, anger boiled inside him, and he finally finalizes what he needs to do with her. Angrily, his thoughts go crazy, and he cries how a princess like her would ever understand the thing he had to go through. He couldn't accept the fact that she knows that him being in the family would just drag their family relations and even business itself down. But still, she wants to play around with his life and give him hope of a tied knot. Deep down, he knew that her family would just move on, and he would be stuck with more pain. He clenches his teeth, and now he is sure that every fiber of his being hates her more than anything. She smiles slightly and tells him that they must go on a date if they want to continue their lives, and she tells him that she would change his life. As he had no romantic interest whatsoever, he glares and was already fed up but decided to play along her cunning little tricks. All his cruel and savage replies end as his eyes widen to see something that he fears the most, a crowd of normal people. As he pants and was able to remain calm, Saiya was casually strolling around cheerfully. Furuya hates crowds, and as they make their way deeper inside the mall, more and more people started to spawn. Poor Furuya finally throws up and started to take small breaks. She asks if they should just stop at a different location, and both of them agree, and Saiya managed to hold small little talks to open his heart. As they made their way, they end up in a restaurant, and by this time, Furuya's plan failed miserably. Initially, he wanted to find a solid weakness of her and use it to his advantage, but it turns out she has nothing. As he fumbles a lot, he finally decided to just make her feel bad for kissing him. He points his finger, and tells her that she is a pervert for kissing any man she sees and forcing herself onto him. As he shouts this to make her embarrassed, she fact-checks him. She just stares at his troubled face, and with slight blushes she tells him that he is the first boy she kissed. As the last resort that he thought would work, it misfired and he completely misunderstood her. She never even had any relationship to begin with, and she reminds him that her life was pretty controlled from the start, and she is terrible at communicating with guys. As she leans a bit, and with a captivating smile, she teases him and reminds him that he has never had any relationships himself. As he saw this beautiful sight in front of him, he blushes and starts to take the comments she showered. What seemed like a positive girl, with a serious tone, she mutters to herself if she would remain how she is unless if she were to fall for someone. As Furuya saw this, something ticked inside him, and he saw a brief moment of pure sadness behind her eyes. But as he was to ask something, she quickly shifts back to a positive and cheerful persona and tells him to move on and continue with their first date. By now, Furuya is sure that she is super hyperactive, and kids would surely match her energy with ease. As she clenches and readies herself for a mega punch, she smacks the punching bag with everything that she had. Seeing her all day, playing all sorts of things, Furuya concludes that Saiya hates losing more than anything, and she would keep repeating again and again until she gets what she wants. As she drags him from store to store, somehow something starts to act up in his heart, and he knows for a fact that his school was right about her being a beautiful starry princess. As she hangs out with him, with an innocent smile and charming talks, Furuya couldn't find anything to exploit or threaten her. He is at the point of giving up. Poor Furuya didn't realize that their last stop was a movie, and as they both entered the cinema, he watched the entire thing and decided to try one more time and find something that could be of his use. Suddenly, everyone from behind started to weep from the moving scene in the movie, and he glances to see that everyone in the cinema was moved and in tears. Furuya, out of curiosity, decided to just glance at her, expecting that she would have snot and tears all over. However, she was just looking at the movie with a dead and tired expression. Finally, Furuya looks at himself in the mirror, and this time, he actually gave up. He is sure that she is a starry princess, but there is something wrong with her for sure. Furuya exits the restroom, and from the side, he hears a couple of people muttering to themselves about something. There, a mother was scolding her son about something, and her words were not well chosen. Rather, she was disappointed. In front of a music center, a timid boy was holding on for dear life as his mother was spewing how he couldn't even do a simple thing despite him practicing for the entire day. It was clear that people around them passed glares at the boy, and his mother asks if he is really her child or not. As Furuya heard this, he completely stopped. His mother continued and mocked how he is silent and must be asleep, as her eyes couldn't see the traumatizing and painful things happening inside that poor boy's head. The boy starts to apologize and nervously looks down to the floor. Just seeing this traumatizing thing, Furuya remembers how that boy is just one step near the place he was at. Furuya cries out that he is going to be swallowed by his mother. The words and actions that she could do to swallow up the heart of that boy. He remembers how his life was an episode of constant torture from his mother. Just like the kids' mothers, things became more heated, and Furuya's mother would pour boiling water on the head of Furuya's his age. And Furuya still remembered how his mother's regular slogan wasn't anything about his skill or accomplishment. Rather, it was a wish that she would constantly wish. I wish I would have never given birth to someone like you. As the boy's mother began to pressure the little boy more, he completely cornered himself, and her mother finally snapped and yelled how he can't even speak, and would speak normally while talking to his father on the phone. And she starts to mention how he was disappointing her. The boy couldn't even make eye contact with his devilish mother and kept muttering sorry again and again, in hope that maybe mother would stop and actually listen to him for once. But she finally was to say the words that swallowed Furuya for all his life, and as she was to finish that painful sentence, Saiya surprises the little boy and with a healing and pure smile asks the boy if he is holding on fine. As everyone stood there seeing what she was doing, Saiya starts to ask if he has anything he would like to tell her, and tells him to share his burden. As the little boy couldn't understand this, Furuya boils up and starts to scream inside his thoughts, how she was a hypocrite, and despite knowing nothing about what is happening, she is trying to save someone who is already inside the black hole and already swallowed up by his mother. This scene reminded Furuya of how his mother treated him, and in his life, no ounce of hope or light was present, and seeing how she is trying to save him by words disgusted him even more. Furuya starts recording her, and was sure that this way he would leverage the video and get away from her. The little boy's mother warns Saiya to not stick her nose into other families' business, and while aggressively pulling the tiny arm of the boy, he grunts and begins walking with his mother. And in the next instant, Saiya tightens her palm and slaps that mother so hard that the echo of the satisfying slap was heard in the entire mall. Everyone around them saw that a high school girl stood up for the boy and knocked out his abusive mother. Saiya kneels down and comforts the boy and tells him one of the most beautiful things that a human can hear. She tells him that the world will swallow you whole if you stand there enduring. She tells him that if he is hurt, he should let everyone know. She adds that if you are scared, shout, nothing will ever change if you don't speak up. She reminds him that he should never give up, or no one will come to help him ever. As the boy listened to this, Furuya stood there listening to this as well, and Saiya shouts to the boy that no matter what, he should never give up on his life or emotions under any circumstance. As the timid boy started to cry, remembering everything that happened to him today, it was clear that this moment was to be with him for the rest of the time. The mother of the kid quickly gets up and kicks Saiya in the head, knocking her over, and she starts to spew how she disgusts her. As their quarrel gets more and more attention, the mother grabs the arm of the kid and pulls him apart, and starts to walk toward the exit of the mall. While leaving, his mother starts to mutter how her son should never ever grow up to be someone like her, and tells him that he should only make his mother happy. As they left, the boy glances over to his hero one more time, and our scene swoops to Furuya, who forgot that he was filming and stood there, now understanding that the princess who was starry and happy through and through was broken just like him. He couldn't let go that this was a side of her as well, and was sure that she would stand up from this and smile like she always did. But as she glances back, her face was covered with a big bruise, and she was crying, knowing that there are more kids that she could help, and looks at him with dead eyes. As she cried, he finally understood that she was not treated like a princess whatsoever, and it was clear that this incident brought some painful memories for her as well. And as he musters the courage, he asks Saiya if she was abused as well. As they both glare at each other, two broken souls finally begin to understand each other. As their first painful date ends, both got reminded of something that pains them to this day, and they quietly walked, and Saiya started to add how it is very difficult to predict the nature of parents when you are growing up and especially when you are only a few years old. With a cracking voice she tells him that she was broken by her parents as well. Saiya was a love for her parents, but slowly her trust and everything that she hoped for broke when things became violent with their parents, and they would take out their frustrated and pent-up anger onto her. She looks at him and asks if he is the same as well. She breaks the ice and tells him that from the start she had an idea why Furuya was acting this way and created a different persona around him which was too grim and painful. For her, it was somewhat like sympathy. From the first second he met her, he despised her and slowly tried his best to understand and exploit her. But now Furuya was at a point where he was sure that whatever he thought of her was wrong and he could understand her a little. She was just like him, a soul who lost her emotions, her shine from an early age. Understanding all this, with a stuttering voice Furuya asks her why she fights for the wrong that happened to them. She begins to answer, and asks him if he thought that enduring and ignoring would heal the scars and wounds. With a painful voice, she starts to remind him that no one would come for them no matter what, and the wound would likely heal like this. She reminds him that if someone going through this problem doesn't push around, nobody is going to push their burden off of them, unless they want it gone themselves. She tells Furuya that no matter what happens, you have to fight. She tells him in a hopeful voice that one needs to fight against their pain, their past, their trauma, and their way of life no matter what. She tells him that this life is theirs to live and there is no way they should care about the past and trauma their parents inflicted on them. She screams that she will fight it over and over again and break away all the shackles. Hearing this sent shivers down his spine, and their Saiya screams at the top of her lungs that after beating everything down, she would shine like a star in the sky and shine so bright that it blinds anyone, a star that shines brighter in the darkest of time and emits more hope than anything. As she points to the ever-stretching sky full of stars, Furuya looks at her, with eyes filled with hope, and she eased his pain, and helped him understand that life is about moving forward and embracing the positive that it offers. As tears rolled from her eyes, she passed a painful smile filled with hope and tells him that their shine should never stop, the light must never fade. Even though they are filled with scars, their life will give hope to people like them, and she screams again, telling him to not give up on life and don't run away from the trauma. As she trembled saying the next few things, tears began to fall from Furuya's eyes, and as Saiya clenches her fist she cries and tells him to shine together with her. She cries that both of them deserve their freedom, their happiness, and there is no need to be shackled in chains their past and parents entangled them in. As these words struck him in an instant, and something like a big bang just went off inside his mind, he saw that there is life outside his shell, and his world would surely be rebuilt one more time. As he thought of everything she said, Furuya starts to cry and weeps that he loved his mother more than anything and thought the world of her. He cried that she wasn't kind to him anymore and gave him pain that wouldn't be healed no matter what. And that is why Furuya ran away from himself, and promised himself to never experience that pain ever again from anyone else. He cries and tells her how even thinking about that makes him weak and poisons him. As he remembers the only one happy memory with his mother, tears overflowed and he tells her that he always wanted to love someone again, without being hurt. As he huffed for air and wept, he screams that he doesn't want to be alone in this world. Without any word, Saiya leans over and wipes his tears and embraces him in the instant, and tells him that every day they would remind themselves again and again that their heart can be healed, and she lets him know that they both will be the fix of their broken souls. As he cries, she asks him one more time if he would like to establish a strategic romantic relationship with her. As they both stood there, while looking at each other, Furuya finally understood that the girl he ran away all this time was the solution to his scar and how she was the hope for him and he was the hope for her. She holds him, and he reminds himself that he would never forget the day they met, and their lives began once more. All the pain was defeated and the new hope and life was found inside their broken contract relationship. As he embraced her, he finally learned that humans can't live without love, and no matter how you trample on life, it will always find and give love in the darkest of time. As they both found love, their injuries became scars and scars became memories of past that didn't matter anymore.